Hello, it's me, Miss Johnson. I'm going to do a quick midterm study guide. I have access to D2L, but I do not have the courses that I teach listed underneath me. So after that is given to me, then I will post a written study guide. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't need to write this stuff down, because if you don't write this stuff down that I'm saying, that would just be unintelligent of you. Um, so I'll move on. All right, so this is for Intro to PE, the study guide for the midterm fall 2020. Um, Basics, okay, the basics. So how physical education and becoming a certified physical education instructor is part of the basics that you have to understand. So remember I talked about the professional organizations that determine what it is you have to know or what it is you have to take class-wise in order to enter the profession. That's the basics. I have not touched on the history of physical education. I have not touched on the Title IX paper. That's not what I'm interested in. I want you to know how to become something, get a certification or license. So that would be, first, we're in Oklahoma, so I'm going to stay with Oklahoma. State-wise is the Oklahoma Department of Education. And the state superintendent. Every school district has a superintendent for that district. And then, of course, we have state superintendents. You need to know the three exams. They are the OGET. I'm sorry, let me start. Yeah, OGET is first. The Oklahoma General Education Test. OSAT, Oklahoma Subject Area Test. And OPTE, Oklahoma Professional Teaching Examination. So OGET is first, OSAT is second, OPTE is third. Each of them has an essay portion, multiple choice questions portion. OGET is similar to your ACT, where it talks about tests you over multiple subject areas: math, science, reading, writing, and that's for Oklahoma. The Praxis 1 is similar to the OGET. The Praxis 2 is your subject area. That's for most states outside of Oklahoma that you sit for those teaching certifications. Remember, I'm looking at alternative certification, not the teacher ed program necessarily. I'm alternatively certified. I got a degree in athletic training and took those 3 tests because my mother is a career teacher and I know how to teach. So I say. But anyway, it got me a certification. It got me able to coach. Moving on with that. From that, know that you have to take care and prevention in order to coach. A lot of my students, I've talked to you all, and you want to coach. If you want to coach at the secondary level, you have to have care and prevention and first aid, safety, and CPR certification. And who determined that? The organization was NASP, National Association of Sports and Physical Education. NASP is how you say that. And it has a website as well. And so you would have to keep up with that. There's some certifications you have to do on that website if you want to coach in the state, if you want to coach, period, because that's national. That's not just Oklahoma. That also goes over like concussions. That's a certification you have to get off that website, I believe. I used to make my students do it because it was required. But you need to look at that website and look at what's required to coach. And let me take a step back. I assumed you all know this, but I need you to make sure you know this. So that's what the levels of school. So you have elementary, or some say pre-K is early childhood, but elementary, and then you have intermediate or middle school, and then you have secondary, which is high school, and that's usually grades 9 through 12. Intermediate is grades 6 through 8, and elementary is 5th grade down. Then you have post-secondary, and that's, of course, your college, collegiate, after high school levels. You have a bachelor's, which is a 4-year degree. An associate's is, some of my freshmen and sophomores are in here, and you don't know you're going for an associate's, but if you would read your read your schedule and you see an AA or an AS, that's Associates of Arts or Associates of Science. Langston offers an associate's program, and for students that didn't score high enough on their testing, they put you in the associate's program, and you think you're going for a bachelor's right now. But that's neither here nor there. So let's see. We have after a bachelor's is a master's. A master's is can be a 2-year degree or a 3-year. On top of the bachelor's, you have to have a bachelor's in order to get a master's, with the exception of athletic training, which is a 5-year master's at Oklahoma State. Now, then you have a doctoral level. And that can be 3 to 4 years after you graduate. I say this because some of y'all don't know how to become what you want to become. You don't know if you need to go to school after. So those of you that want to be physical therapists, there is no major for physical therapy. And you need to know that and look that stuff up and find out how do you become a physical therapist. You need to go ask maybe the physical therapy department how you become a physical therapist. But anyway, let's see. Back to it. So I wanted to run through that. That'll be on your midterm. Simple, should be easy answers. Intro to PE. NASP, National Association of Sports and Physical Education. What is their role? What do they require? Some of the classes I named that they require. Once again, care and prevention, first aid and safety, and some other courses on the website. SHAPE. I think it's Society of Health and Physical Education. Michelle Obama changed the name. Used to be AAPERD, and then for each state, ours was OAPERD. It's a very long name, but it was health. Okay, it's long. Anyway, Oklahoma Academic Standards. What is that? What are those? That's that 49-page PDF. That's what's going to dictate everything for the state of Oklahoma. And as far as how we teach, what we teach, and what grade level is learning what. Topics, content, curriculum. That is the Oklahoma Academic Standards. You will look at Oklahoma Academic Standards. You can look at health, and you can also look at physical education. For your lesson plans, you can look at physical education. It used to be tied in together. Health and physical education was all in one. But now they separated it out into health has its standards and physical education has its standards. For lack of confusion, the individual standards, I call them objectives, so that I'm not using the word standard over and over again. So it breaks down those 5 areas that you all talked about as standards, and it goes into what objectives need to be taught at each grade level in those 5, within those 5 standards. Okay, so objectives. Then we have a lesson plan. What is the role of a lesson plan? What is its job? Remember your lesson plan format. You need to know what each of those categories means. Okay, what does it mean? What is it asking for? And then we'll get to the cardiovascular system. I will be posting a video about the diseases that I talked about on the worksheet that you got in week 6. That is not, I don't have a Dropbox for that. I will not have a Dropbox for that because that was for you. That was for you to learn and for you to keep. I'm going to put that information on my midterm. So it's going to be to the point where you can't just look at that worksheet and know the answer. You have to put something in your brain in order to finish the test on time. I want to get you on time for the midterm. I'm not going to give you an extended amount of time to turn in this midterm because it's online. I'm telling you now what I want. It's up to you to study for it. So you need to know the pathway of blood within the heart. You need to know the definitions of the things that I put on that worksheet. And you need to know what I talked about and understand so you can reason the disease processes I talked about. And those disease processes for the cardiovascular system are cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, strokes. There's 2 kinds. Respiratory disease, which was COPD, asthma, and viruses, and pneumonias. I want to put that video up tonight as well. And That's it. So that's the basis of your Intro to PE midterm, fall 2020. I hope you enjoy. I hope you study.